because following his latest disciplinary breach last week, we now hear Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has been kicked out of the captaincy of the club. He will no longer be Arsenal's club captain. He will no longer be considered for selection for Wednesday's match against West Ham. And it would seem pretty much the very same Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is now on borrowed time. He had been given permission to go abroad on Wednesday to collect his sick mum and bring her back to England. He did that, but flew back later than he should have. And now that's landed him in a lot of hot water. Arsenal Invincible Martin Keown joins us live. Martin, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning to you. So, Martin, what do you think? Arsenal have stripped him of the captaincy. They're not having it. Is the club right?
Well, it's a bold move from the manager. I did kind of feel that this might be left till the summer, and it would be too disruptive to the group and to the club. Too much noise around it to do something like that now. But obviously, the manager feels that, you know, the player itself, I felt that if he felt he had the characteristics to be that leader of the group, and that was never in question, I think he might have rode this storm. But I think it's deeper than that. I think he doesn't really believe he's the leader of the group. He doesn't think he's the rightful captain. Be very interesting now to see who's going to be the next captain. Xhaka, of course, was stripped of the captaincy by the previous manager.
Who would you have, Martin?
Well, that's where I think you're scratching your head, because at one stage I would have gone for Keown Simon, but he hasn't even put him back in the team recently straight away. So you start to wonder, where is that player? Is it going to be Ben White? Is it Gabriel from the back line? Does it go to a Ramsdale? But they've only been at the club, 5 minutes really.
Yeah.
So there is a shortage of leaders.
Yeah.
I just feel that Aubameyang was so wonderful in his performances when the captaincy was given to him. He was getting the captaincy through his performances, not necessarily because he was a leader. Once the performances disappeared and there's one or two misdemeanors, I mean, there have been Arsenal captains in the past that have, shall we say, done a lot worse than what this captain has done with disciplinary issues, and still held on to the captaincy because they were true leaders of men. But I don't think he can be. I think we have to trust in the manager, and hope that this doesn't affect the group too much, Jim.
I mean, Martin, when he steps out of line next, and he's got to be gone, surely.
Well, he's gone to collect his mother. I mean, you've got to talk about this in the context as well. I'm just a bit... I'd like to know the full facts. We don't know what the facts are. That's why we have to trust in the manager.
But Mark, do you trust Arteta's judgment? Because he's doubled down. He's allowed the player to go away, and I'm assuming the player, given can get private jets back and forward, so he's captain of his own ship in terms of how he travels. Right? He's doubled down on it. He's given the press briefing before the game. He answered questions after it, and now he's doubled down by taking the captains away. Do you trust Arteta as a manager to make these sort of decisions in the best interests of the club rather than the best interests of taking out possibly the biggest name in the dressing room?
Well, Simon, it doesn't matter what I feel. I would have, if I was with him.
But from a judgment point of view, Mark. From a judgment point of view.
From a judgment point of view, I'd have left it to the summer. That'd have been. I think he's too disruptive.
But by the summer, then it's forgotten about, Martin.
No, it's not. We make the change in the summer. The new captain apparent is picked in the summer when the manager.
The manager could be gone by then, Martin. Yeah, and he's trying to put his footprint over the culture of the football club and say the fabric of this football club runs the way I say it runs.
Well, that's what I call a bold move. I personally would have just kept it as it was, because I believe that...
Isn't that leadership then, from the manager?
It is, but I think, are we not losing the player now? Is it humiliation for the player? How do we get him?
And that was my next question. Do you think he can recover from it? Aubameyang?
Well, it's going to take some time. I think his professionalism, but he'll be playing for himself. He won't be playing for the manager. Hopefully he'll be trying to play for his colleagues as well. But there is a disconnect now. I wonder.
If you're forecasting an outcome, which way do you see it going, Martin? I see Aubameyang leaving. If you're forecasting, as someone that's been in a dressing room and probably seen all manner of instances, if you were putting a forecast on this, how would you see this one playing out? Aubameyang recovers his poise, or Aubameyang is eventually moved out of the door by Arsenal?
Well, he might be looking at it thinking, how long's Arteta going to last? So you have to look at it from both sides.
Yeah.
I do feel that it's going to have to work now for Arteta, even more so. But I get it. I admire what he's doing, but it's not necessarily what I'd have done. I think it would have been a way to try and bring people together. He's gone to pick up his mother, who last year was close to passing. So there's lots of things involved. COVID at the moment has made it impossible for him to get back quickly enough.
But he's on a private jet, Martin. Come on. And the backstory of this boy is this is not somebody that hasn't got a history of behaving in a way where lateness becomes a regular feature of his conduct.
Exactly. And Martin, this isn't a pile-on, mate, but I know if it had been you, sick mum or not, you'd have been back on time. It had been agreed that he went abroad on Wednesday to collect his sick mum and bring her back to England. It had been agreed he'd return later that night so that he could train on Thursday. But he breached the agreement, flew back Thursday morning. The knock-on of that was that he was told not to report because he was going to have to wait for a negative PCR result, and that meant Thursday went into Friday. So,
he shouldn't have got. It was foolhardy for him to have gone anyway. Somebody else should have made that trip for him. The important thing was for his mother to return back.
Yeah.
To be alongside him if there was going to be issues with COVID going forward. So he's made the wrong call. But the manager's now made a really big call in taking that captaincy away. And I do feel we have to trust in the manager because he knows all the facts. He knows the personalities.
Exactly.
He's working very closely with these people. And he doesn't feel that he's worthy of being captain anymore.
Right.
So,
right.
But the thing is, I do feel on the outside, for people like us now, the media, it's great for them. It gives them so much to talk about, and it's disruptive to the group. And this is a young, impressionable group, and Arteta's trying to take control of it. But I do feel now we've lost Aubameyang.
Flip side of that is, there's a young, impressionable group who know that their manager means what he says and says what he means.
That's right.
100%.
That's right.
And he's going to pick people. He's going to pick people on performances, and I think that's the thing now. Does Aubameyang come back into the team now at any point? I'd like to think he's under contract. He's still a quality player. I know he's lost that form, but he's got that class in his finishing. He's just lost it. His temporary, at the moment, it's just disappeared on the field for him. He's had too much going on off it. He needs to be focused. And now Arteta needs to turn to him now as a player, no longer the captain, to try and get him back on the pitch.
Do you think it's likely he got in touch with Arteta to say, sorry about this, I'm going to be late?
Oh, without doubt, he would have been in communicating. But for Arteta, it was like, well, you get one more chance. And you've already, there was a disciplinary issue before the Spurs game in March where he was late arriving for the game.
Yeah.
Players are always late, Jim, the thing is, if someone's if someone is a leader of men, okay, look, Tony Adams had issues, didn't he? Disciplinary issues, and still retained the captaincy because he was clearly a leader. Yeah. Clearly the number one man.
Yeah.
But Aubameyang isn't.
Who's your captain, Martin? Tierney? Ramsdale? Who is it?
I think it's probably going to be Ben White. Gabriel or Ben White will be the captain of that team. I can't see him going to Xhaka, although Xhaka comes straight back into the team and stays in the team. He doesn't bring Tierney back.
Who would you have, though, Mark? Who would you pick?
Well, I don't know the group well enough. I don't know them as men, and we have to trust it. The one I'm looking at now as a leader is Ramsdale. For me, he's looking like a crowd favourite. He's wearing his heart on his sleeve, but he's the goalkeeper. It's a little bit. I would rather somebody in the engine room, somebody in the middle of the team.
Yeah.
Partey is a player that's disappointed in his performance and not really showing the leadership skills we expected. So he must have a clear vision of who that next captain is going to be. I would have given it to Tierney. And I would have put him straight back in the team recently, and you wouldn't now have this dilemma. But we'll have to see what Arteta comes up with.
Martin, thanks so much for joining us. Martin Keown. Martin will be with us on Friday, of course.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.